You know, there's an old time saying that losing's for the birds, and quite frankly, I believe that wholeheartedly. Wanna know why? Find out in today's episode of the Who Dat Weekly. Hit that intro. Reaching the Dirty Devs Class. Big and tall, baby, short and small. Alright. Oh, wow. Hairball. That's what I get for living with a really furry cat over there. She's sitting on my cushions right now. I'm in the middle of a moving process, so bear with me. So welcome to the show, yo. Hope y'all enjoyed that intro. But today we're going to be talking about and breaking down the Saints versus Seattle Seahawks matchup, Game 3 of the 2025 NFL season. But before we talk about that, excuse me, y'all. Choking on that. So before we talk about that, I wanted to talk about some college football shenanigans that's going on, mainly involving social media. So y'all know me, as y'all can see the flag behind, well, this way. Y'all know I'm a diehard Ole Miss fan, so I've been seeing a lot of the typical Lane Kiffin's leaving for XYZ team. So, for context, if y'all don't know what that means, Lane Kiffin has unfortunately been known for his how do I put this? He left a team in the middle of his contract, in the middle of the night, to go join another team, and things didn't go very well. So to this day, everyone keeps thinking, oh, Lane Kiffin's going to leave for X, Y, and Z. So there you have it. It's been following him for years and years and years. It went from one team to the next. It just seems like he can't get away with it. It just seems like our yearly routine. And the moment he actually is locked in for a team, these constant rumors always come up around this time of year. And the funny part about these rumors is that, excuse me, the funny part of these rumors is that they're always consistently wrong, as that is, at least in the recent 5 years that Lane Kiffin has coached my Ole Miss Rebels. So, the second year in a row, and I'm calling you out, you stupid Florida Gator fans. I'm calling you guys out because you guys must have Alzheimer's or something, because I remember scrolling about my own business on social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and I kept seeing that Lane Kiffin is a lock-in to be the next head coach for the Florida Gators. That didn't happen because the coach, that Florida still has a coach. His name is Billy Napier, and even though Florida fans absolutely despise his guts, they somehow managed to believe that he was actually a lock to be the Gators' next head coach. Well, guess what? It did not happen, for starters, and second of all, Billy Napier unfortunately beat my Rebs that same year. All these rumors were flying around, and thirdly, Ole Miss managed to extend Lane Kiffin's contract at the very same time. So, why am I bringing this up? Because it's happening again for a second year in a row, because Florida Gator fans, as I mentioned, have Alzheimer's. Because they're bringing this up again. They're thinking they're going to get Lane Kiffin all over again. How many times are we going to tell you guys he is fine where he's at? He is staying put at Ole Miss until further notice. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not buying into this nonsense, because this is a second year in a row I'm hearing Lane to Florida. Why are we entertaining this again? We know he's not leaving Ole Miss. He's already been so successful with us. In fact, he's been the most successful with Ole Miss than he has with any other team he's coached. Yes, I'm not even talking about Tennessee or USC, and I'm talking about Southern California, not South Carolina. Just being clear with that. So, So yeah, I just want to like squash those rumors right this minute because we all know how this plays. Lane Kiffin is rumored to be next head coach of said team. Rumors are saying he's a lock at said team, only to followed by rumors were false and that fan base doesn't want him. I'm expecting it all over again. And look, we don't know what the heck is going to happen with the Florida Gators head coach. All I know, he might still be there through next season. And they got to suffer through this for a third year old. Because why? Florida Gators are stupid. So, anyway, enough about those shenanigans. So I figure I'd just talk about that real quick. Let's go ahead and talk about today's matchup. Or really, this Sunday's matchup with the Seattle Seahawks and ours truly, the New Orleans Saints. So, let me go ahead and switch screens real quick. Give me a second. There we go. Alright, so we got the Seahawks and the Saints. Should be a pretty interesting battle, given the quarterback battle that we strangely have stumbled across on once again. We have, on the opposing side, we have Sam Darnold of all quarterbacks, who currently in the NFL has 445 passing yards, is 38 out of 56, has thrown 2 touchdowns but thrown 2 picks. Meanwhile, yours truly, Spencer Rattler, has thrown 421 yards and 52 out of 80 passes and for 3 touchdowns. No picks, no fumble. Well, he had a fumble. I'll give that. But no picks. So what's this matchup going to look like? I'm not going to start with a quarterback. I just had to mention that real quick just to highlight that. But what does this matchup look like in terms of like who's better than whose defense is better, whose offense is better? Well, I did some digging around just to see where Seattle stands in terms of standings. And let me tell you, it's neck and neck. And I kid you not, it is literally neck and neck. Like Seattle looks, they're 18th overall in offense, and we're 19th overall in offense. Defense-wise, we are 15th overall in defense, and they are 16th overall in defense. Shows you that that both teams are pretty, they're pretty even for the most part. The only difference is one has a win and the other is currently winless, which sadly is us. Dang it. So, but I feel like that could change. I feel that could change in this coming Sunday, even though playing in Seattle is going to be probably the most difficult part for this young Saints team. And on top of that, Seattle's rush offense, from what I've seen in the last 2 games of theirs, is no joke. So if we were to find a way to shut down Seattle's run game, which is going to be one of the key matchups for us, shut down their run game, we're good to go. So far, in terms of rush defense, the Saints have been really solid in that department. And I'm very satisfied that we have been very solid in that department. But the problem is, as we saw last Sunday against the 49ers, the defense got cooked in the secondary left and right. Now, we did put up sufficient pressure on their quarterback. We got 3 sacks off him, and we're currently leading the NFL in number of sacks, which is kind of surprising if you ask me. But the problem is we have to make sure all secondaries, the secondary for all defense can contain the Seattle Seahawks pass attack. Sam Darnold is not a joke, and it's actually kind of hilarious that I'm saying he's not a joke when he started off really poorly with the New York Jets. But Sam Darnold has kind of resurrected his career, so to speak, ever since he played that 1 year with the Minnesota Vikings. And he was fabulous. He actually was the reason why the Minnesota Vikings did not fall apart to this day. Even though they did go one and done against the Los Angeles Rams in the wild card playoffs, which honestly I blame their O-line because the Vikings O-line is trash. But in fact, it is really trash after seeing poor J.J. McCarthy struggle for his life. But that's a topic for another day. Let's continue this topic. So, Sam Darnold has been consistently decent for Seattle so far, even though he has thrown 2 picks. I don't know how he threw those 2 picks. I didn't see all the stat highlights or anything for the Seahawks, but I've seen their running game pretty efficiently. We'll talk about that later on. So Sam Darnold is someone we should definitely try and not allow him to absolutely torch us, because we already let Mac Jones, of all people, and that still makes me mad thinking the fact that we just allowed a mediocre quarterback like Mac Jones absolutely cook us all day long last Sunday. We cannot allow that to happen a second time with Sam Darnold. Now, don't get me wrong. I just gave Sam Darnold a lot of praise for resurrecting his career and looking like an adequate quarterback. Now, it's really young in the season, and so far it looks like he's doing so-so with the Seahawks, and it just depends on how well he plays for the rest of the season with the Seahawks, because the Seahawks have a revamped offense where they're run first, pass second kind of offense. They're a run heavy offense, pass later kind of offense. So, and here's the other thing about the Seahawks. They don't have what's that receiver's name? He's on Pittsburgh's team. Dang it, man! I forgot his name already. That's sad when he's a former Ole Miss player too. That's even worse. But it'll come to me. But they traded one of their best players, their best wide receivers that they've had for a long time, to Pittsburgh, and in exchange they got Cooper Kupp from the Los Angeles Rams. Now, Cooper Kupp, as of right now, hasn't done a whole lot, but I'm sure he's going to get utilized a lot more in this game. That's someone who has caused problems for the Saints in recent memory. So, but he's not the only player we got to look out for. The other players, like, let's see, I think his name is, Jackson Smith Jigba, if that's even how he pronounces his name. So that's another player we got to look out for, and he, as y'all can see, he has 227 receiving yards out of 17 receptions that he has caught. And then you got Kenneth Walker III, who's kind of emerged last week. He had one of his best games so far this season, and he's a tough ground and pound kind of running back. He's someone we definitely need to look out for in this game. So, but I feel pretty good about our defense shutting him down for the most part, because so far this season we have allowed less than 100 yards per game against opposing teams' running backs, which is a good sign, very good sign. But at the same time, we got to do better containing the mobile quarterbacks. And Sam Darnold, for the most part, is not the mobile quarterback, and neither was Mac Jones, but they will use their legs if necessary. So that's something we got to keep an eye out for, and that's something our defense definitely has struggled for the longest of time. Yeah, anyway, so the next matchup I want to see out of this game is, not only do I want to see the defense have a bounce back kind of game against a Seattle offense which is middle of the pack, as I just mentioned already, but I also want to see them I just want to see them get some turnovers, because we've only had, I believe, just 1, maybe 2 turnovers this entire season, even though it's only been 2 games, which isn't bad, but we're losing the turnover battle, and thankfully our offense hasn't committed as many turnovers. In fact, last week was the most we've committed turnovers, which has only been 1 so far. But the thing is, we need to win the turnover battle. That's the key we need to do. Our defense needs to be opportunistic to the point where we actually force Sam Darnold to make some bad decisions and either force an interception or sack him and force a fumble or just knock the ball out. Just put enough pressure on him and he's going to fold like a taco. So, but yeah, and that's something I want to see the defense, because we cannot have another week where our defense is absolutely getting cooked by another team's offense. We just can't. We have to stop that, Because if this keeps up, our defense is going to be struggling all year long, while our offense, which so far has been adequate, is going to be struggling all along to keep up. So, and that's the next matchup we're going to be looking out for, is how Spencer Rattler and the entire Saints offense continues to carry on their current success in this week's matchup against a very, I wouldn't say a very tough Seattle defense. In fact, most of the Seattle defenders aren't that great, especially if you look at their PFF grades, which is the best source to like see how good their defense is. Like, in terms of defense, this is probably like the easier defenses that the Saints offense will be facing this season. But at the same time, we're a young offense with a young quarterback that's trying to figure things out. We're trying to get trying to put the puzzles pieces together. It's probably not going to be pretty whatsoever, but I will say that given how last Sunday's game against the Niners went, and given how our offense was able to put up some really nice drives against one of the NFL's best defenses, I have a lot of hope that this week we might generate that same offense, if not better. Especially against a Seattle defense which doesn't really boast in a lot of great players. Like, their best players right now, as y'all can see, is Ernest Jones the fourth, and I think, what's this dude's name? Byron Murphy the second? Yeah. So like those two guys, as you can see, Ernest Jones the fourth has 18 total tackles. He's just 2 tackles shy of Demario Davis here. Brian Murphy II only has 1.5 sacks compared to Charles Granderson, who has 3.5 sacks so far this season. This is going to be a good game to watch, but I really feel like the Saints could actually pull this one through, even though I said that last week against the Niners, but theoretically we could have won that game too had things gone a little bit differently. So, but I do feel really good about this Saints team, because this Saints team has shown a lot of fight, as I've mentioned before, and I feel that they're just going to continue that. Now, the key thing is, can they remain consistent, especially on offense? Because I don't want this to be that game where we look good one week and then we look bad another week. So I'm hoping that we actually look the same as last week, if not better. I hope we continue to make drives and get touchdowns out of them. That is the other thing. We need to get better at especially if on our opening drives we have to score instantly. We have to score. I'm like, if we have to punt in our own territory, then so be it. That's not the best way to start a game. But when you're driving down the field and you're like in the say the Seahawks red zone, and all you're doing is either missing a pass on a wide open touchdown or you're missing field goals. Looking at you, Blake Groupie. But we have to capitalize on our red zone opportunities. That's the key. Now, we haven't been as bad so far this season, which is good. But we need to capitalize on every opportunity we get. And every drive counts at this point, because we can't guarantee our defense is going to hold up. Like, if our offense remains as consistent and starting to put up really good drives and looking like a really strong, well-put-together offense, which I wouldn't say they're there yet in terms of offensive stats, because we're right now in the middle of the pack, maybe lower in the lower tier, but we're good enough to where we can actually drive the ball more efficiently than what I've seen in the last 4 years. So it's gonna be interesting to see. So with that being said, so the key takeaways, the key matchups is, defense got to play better. We got to be more opportunistic on our first drives and entering the red zone. Be more opportunistic there. We got to force pressure on Sam Darnold and company. We got to make sure we shut down their run game. And last but not least, win the football game. Simple as that. So, my score prediction for this game, I'm going to keep it close once again, because so far that's been the consistent thing going on with this team. It's gonna be a tough. Oh, they're playing at 3 o'clock. How about that? Huh. I did not know that. I was assuming they'd be playing at like 12 o'clock. How about that? So 3:05 on CBS. You heard from me first. So, but going back to what I was saying about score prediction, the thing it's gonna be a fight to the finish, but it's gonna be hard given that we're playing in Seattle, which is known for the 12th man, and that those Seattle Seahawks fans will scream their lungs out till their lungs just either burst or they lose brain cells along with it. So I expect them to absolutely just give us problems early on, and that will really determine how well our young offense, especially our young quarterback here, how well he's gonna handle that kind of pressure from not just like the opposing defense, but the crowd noise. That's something we gotta make sure we tune them out as best as possible. So my score prediction, I'm gonna keep it close once again. I'm still sticking by my boys until further notice. I think the Saints win 17-16. Keeping it close once again. You know what? Scratch that. I think I have a little more confidence in my offense. I'm gonna say we're gonna win 24-21. I like that one better. Do you guys like that one better? Comment below what your score prediction is for this game, how you feel about this game. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe as always. If you haven't checked out my last video, go click on the link below or wait to the end of the video. They'll pop up from there. Either way works. Share my content, share my stuff. And also, it's always a good day to talk about Saints football. Want to know why? Because it's a glorious day to not be a Falcons fan. Alright, again, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll be back later this week for a post-game reaction. Unless something comes up that's newsworthy, we'll make a recording from there. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys soon. Alright, again.
KK, you are the savior. We yelling black and gold.